Hi, I'm Shane Mlach, and I've decided to make 30 videos in the next 30 days. I got the idea from this guy.
Hi, I'm Shane from Explorative Approach. I've decided to make 30 videos in the next 30 days.
Why do this kind of challenge again? Well, first, let me tell you what this is not about. This is not a marketing thing. This isn't part of some funnel, and it's also not about growing my audience. My goal is not to churn out loads of content in order to gain more subscribers or something like that. The main reason I'm doing this is in order to overcome my own perfectionism. I've noticed that perfectionism has crept back in. It's a tendency I've always had. And when it comes to making content, I've had no problems being very productive, shipping lots of content, getting lots of things done within the framework of very specific brands, such as Thrive Themes. When I was working on Thrive Themes for a long time, I was doing all of the marketing, all of the content. I was churning out videos and blog posts and doing all kinds of stuff because there was a very clear frame. This business was about making conversion optimized stuff for WordPress websites. And so I could create all of this content about conversion optimization, about online marketing. It was all very clear to me what this is about, what the use case is, and how I might deliver some kind of value to someone watching my videos or reading my content. But when it comes to more personal content, I don't have that frame and I fall back into perfectionism. And the way that looks for me is that I have thousands of pages of notes and lots of voice notes and conversations with ChatGPT and all kinds of stuff about the things that I think are actually super important, about my own exploration of life, my own pursuit of personal development, my own trying to figure out how to navigate life and how to be a better human. I have lots and lots of content about that I simply never publish. And usually it's just because I have these ideas or I'll make these discoveries and I do feel like, yes, this is valuable, yes, this is important, but where do I put this? Should I start a new brand about this kind of topic, or can I create a mini documentary on these ideas? Should this be an article? Should this be a video? How do I make this into something that's highly polished and is kind of worthy? Right? How do I turn this idea into something that is worthy enough to be published? That's where I always get stuck. For a while, I tried to solve this problem by hiring people, hiring editors or hiring agencies that maybe could help me turn my ideas into these more polished pieces. And that was a frustrating endeavor that never fully worked out for me. And I've tried a bunch of other solutions, but what it comes down to is I think that I just have to overcome my own perfectionism. Just be like, you know what if I just put this stuff out as it is, as imperfectly as it comes through? I also believe that now is the moment to do this. So what I'm after here is totally authentic, kind of human, raw, unfiltered content. And I think now is the time to make that kind of content, because we live in the age of AI slop. This is already happening. For many years now, algorithms have trained human creators to make more and more engagement optimized content in order to get more viewership, get more eyeballs. Every platform has the goal of retaining more attention, retaining more users. The way to do that is make highly addictive content. And up until recently, the way to do that was to outsource the job to human creators. But this is now no longer necessary. There are already AI-driven content channels that are producing thousands, if not tens of thousands of content pieces every single day. And the entire thing can now be outsourced to the machine. We have all this data on what keeps people watching and tapping and swiping. And all of this can be fed into the machine, and you can have an automatic output of whatever the most bottom of the brainstem tickling, engagement optimized thing is going to be. Human beings are no longer needed in this process. I believe that as a human being, there's absolutely no point in me trying to compete with the AI slop machine. I will never be as good at making engagement optimized content. You cannot outslop the slop machine. And you know what? I never wanted to be an entertainer. My goal was never to make content just to get and keep people's attention for as long as possible. And my goal is certainly not to serve YouTube or whatever platform I put my content on. I am not working for them. I want to be a teacher. That has always been my motivation. I love learning things, and whenever I learn things that are really valuable, that make a huge difference in my life, I have this drive, this innate drive to want to teach it, to want to spread the message. For a long time, it seemed like the game to play was to somehow package the information, the useful content in such a way that it would still do well in the algorithm, and you have a clickbaity title and a clickbaity thumbnail, and you make sure that everything is fast-paced and edited in such a way that you can somehow maybe do the educational stuff along with enough, monkey dance, bells and whistles to keep people's attention, and that's how you grow your audience. But honestly, I think that game is over. And it was probably never a very good game to play to begin with. We were kind of tricked into playing this game by the platforms and by the algorithms. In the age of AI slop, only human discernment can save you. If all you do is whip out your phone screen or get in front of your TV or laptop or whatever, and simply let the algorithm feed you, so you're just consuming what the algorithm serves, and all you do is swipe to the next thing whenever something doesn't keep your attention in the most optimal way possible, then there's basically no chance for you to find truly useful or valuable content, because nothing that follows this formula is optimized for truth or value. None of this is aligned with your happiness or your thriving as a human being. All it does is feed addicts more addictive stuff. Of course, this leads to misery, something that a lot of social media users, I think, are increasingly waking up to the fact that we're spending all day hypnotized by our little devices, and we feel more and more miserable and socially isolated, and it's not working for us. Again, this is where human discernment comes in. As a human being, you have to start making more active decisions about what you feed your mind. Just like you have to be active and make deliberate decisions about what to feed your body if you want to have a healthy existence, if you want to exist inside a body that feels good to exist in, you have to make your own decisions about that. You have to be deliberate about that. Well, the same is true for your mind, your brain, and what you feed it. So all of this is to say, as a content creator, as a teacher, I am no longer trying to solve this problem for my audience. Instead, I simply want to focus on teaching things that are worth teaching, on telling stories that are worth telling. And I leave it up to the algorithms to not show this to most people. I'm fully aware that this is not going to be how I create viral content or how I get 1 million subscribers or any of that. And I don't want any of that either, because ultimately it's down to humans to decide whether they want to engage with this or not. And I'm also fully aware that the kinds of things that I'm doing and the kinds of things I'm talking about are only going to be appealing to a very small minority of people. In this sense, this is elite content. So what exactly is it that I'm going to make all this content about in the next 30 days? Well, one answer is about the cessation of suffering, about the problem of suffering and how to deal with it, and practical and useful tools for, well, not suffering, which I do think is one of the most important things you can learn if you want to have a good life. I've been exploring this topic for a long time. Suffering was a big topic in my life, in part because I experienced depression as a child in my teenage years, and also a severe period of depression as an adult. So I was really confronted with this problem of suffering and what to do about it. And I'm glad to say that my exploration into it has yielded amazing results, and my life is sometimes almost indescribably good as a result of the work I've done in this area. In private, with a few one-on-one clients, and mostly in small group settings, offline settings, workshops and things that really I haven't publicized much about. I've been developing frameworks for both developing one's mind and awareness, and also, most importantly, relational frameworks that are an incredible life upgrade, and that I think are really important tools for where we are right now in human history and human culture, and the tools that are needed for where we're heading next. What I've been working on and what I've been discovering feels unbelievably important and also difficult to talk about. This is something that I think triggers my perfectionism, where I'm like, this is so important, I have to do this right, I have to do this justice. But I've been stuck in that mindset for too long. So that's why I'm just going to be creating a whole bunch of videos about whatever comes up, trying to express these ideas and these topics to the best of my ability, and let's see what happens. Having said that, I am also simply allowing myself to make content about whatever I want. I think sometimes one has to clear the backlog. So there might be some content pieces that don't fit into this theme at all. There might be stuff that I produce that feels like it doesn't fit into any kind of message or brand or niche. And that is also part of the point. I simply want to give myself the freedom to put out whatever feels like wants to be expressed, to just follow wherever the creative spark takes me. So that is to say, I don't really have that much of a plan for what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it one day at a time, and let's see what happens. I'll probably start with themes and tools around awareness and what you can do to understand your own behavior and other people's behaviors in such a way that you feel more securely attached to yourself, to them, to life itself, in such a way that other people's behavior doesn't confuse you or trigger you so easily, in such a way that your own behavior doesn't seem to be working against your best interests all the time. I'll probably be sharing these kinds of tools that I'm using for myself, and also relational tools you can use to not only dissolve tension and conflict in your most important relationships, but also actually turn moments of conflict and friction into opportunities for growth, which is a total paradigm shift in how you relate to yourself and to others. But maybe some other stuff is going to come up too. Who knows? If you want to find out, well, this is where I would ask you to subscribe. But let's be honest, if you subscribe to this on YouTube, it's almost certain that the algorithm will not show you my videos, because there's always some better engagement optimized slop that they can show you instead to keep you hooked for longer. Which means this is a matter of discernment. If you want to follow this content, if you want to see what I'm going to be doing, you have to take a more active role. And one of the ways you can do that is whatever, you can hit the bell or whatever. That also doesn't matter anymore. They still don't show you the stuff even when you subscribe and do the bell thing. You can also get on my mailing list. I'm not going to be sending an email every day, but I'll probably send maybe a weekly email or something with all the videos from that week or something like that. But ultimately, none of that matters, because you can also just ignore those emails very easily. So this is really about you deciding, do I want to pay attention to this? What do I do with this? This is up to you to figure out, is this something that I want to feed my brain? And how do I decide whether I keep up with this or not? And like I said, this is simply not a problem that I'm going to be solving for you. So I think that is enough of an introduction for this little experiment. Enough for today. Maybe I'll see you again tomorrow.